My wife left me when I was caring for my dying father, but when he made me a millionaire in his will, she came back crawling. I 36M was married to a woman named Erica 34F. We'd been together for 8 years, married for 5. The first few years were honestly the best of my life. She was smart, warm, had this quirky sense of humor that just drew people in. She'd dance in the kitchen while cooking, sing off-key in the car, and always made me feel like I was the only person in the room. I was all in, man. I thought we were going to be one of those couples that made it. But things started to change about a year ago. My dad got sick, pancreatic cancer. It came out of nowhere, and it hit fast. One day he was just tired, the next we were sitting in a hospital room hearing about palliative care. I'm an only child. My mom passed when I was in college, so it was just me and him. I didn't even have to think about it. I packed a bag and moved in with him in his house about 4 hours away to help him through his last months. At first, Erica was supportive. Said she understood, told me to do what I had to do. We promised to talk every night, and we did, at first. But then the calls started getting shorter. Sometimes she didn't answer at all. I'd send her texts and get one-word replies. Busy. Fine. Talk later. I tried to tell myself she was just stressed too, that it was hard on both of us being apart. But deep down, something felt off. You know when someone's just pulling away? I remember this one night in particular. I called her after a brutal day with my dad. He'd had a bad reaction to one of the meds and I had to clean up after him, feed him, the whole thing. I just needed to hear her voice, to feel like I still had someone in my corner. But she didn't pick up. I called 3 times. Left a voicemail. Nothing. She texted me the next morning, sorry, fell asleep early. But when I checked Instagram later, yeah, I know she'd posted a story at 11 p.m. at some rooftop bar. Tagged one of her friends. Laughing. Glass of wine in her hand. That's when the pit in my stomach really set in. After that, it only got worse. She stopped asking about my dad. Didn't even respond when I texted her he'd had to go back to the hospital for another round of emergency treatment. I was crying alone in the car, outside that damn hospital, and all I got from her was a hope he feels better soon. She used to be there. Now it was like she couldn't care less. And then she disappeared. About 6 weeks before my dad passed, Erica told me she needed space. No explanation. Just that. I asked if she wanted to talk, if something was wrong, if I should come back. She said, I think we both need time to reflect. The next day, her phone went straight to voicemail. She didn't block me, but she might as well have. She ghosted me completely. I was losing my dad. And now I'd lost her too. It's weird how quiet a house gets when someone's gone. How empty even a text thread looks when no one's replying. I kept thinking, maybe I pushed too hard. Maybe she's just overwhelmed. Maybe I wasn't enough to keep her around while I was falling apart. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I was breaking in every direction. Watching my father, my rock, my hero, slowly die while my wife, the person who swore to stand by me, just vanished into thin air. I still didn't know the worst part. That came later. So, after Erica ghosted me, I was still in survival mode. I couldn't even process her absence properly because my dad was slipping away. Every day was meds, doctors, bedpans, hospice visits. I was watching the strongest man I ever knew shrink into a whisper of himself. There were nights I just sat on the floor outside his room and cried into my hoodie like a goddamn kid. And the whole time I kept hoping maybe Erica would call. Just once. Just to say, I'm here. She never did. Then 3 weeks before my dad passed, one of our mutual friends, Jen, texted me out of nowhere. Hey, how are you holding up? I appreciated it. She was always one of the kind ones. After a bit of small talk, she said, have you talked to Erica? I told her no, and that Erica had said she needed space. There was this long pause in the chat. Then Jen replied, I'm not trying to stir shit, but I thought you should know she's been staying with someone. A guy. I thought you two were just having a rough patch. I didn't realize she'd straight up left. I stared at that message for a long time. My mouth went dry. I asked her what she meant. Where, who, how long. Jen didn't want to get too involved, but she said she'd seen Erica at some guy's apartment a few times. His name was Drew. And then, as if the universe wanted to twist the knife just a little harder, I went on Instagram again and saw a photo that confirmed everything. It was Erica, in a booth at some trendy-ass restaurant I didn't recognize, next to a guy I did recognize. Drew. He used to work with her. She tagged the restaurant, but not him. The post was just, much-needed night with someone who makes me smile. Someone who makes me smile. While I was spoon-feeding my dying father applesauce and praying he'd make it through the night, she was out drinking wine and smiling for the camera with a guy I'd always had a bad feeling about. And now I knew. You ever get that kind of cold fury that's so intense it makes your hands shake, but your body goes numb? That was me. I was sitting in my dad's guest room with the photo glowing on my phone, and I just lost it. I didn't scream or cry. I just stared at it, realizing that the woman I had built my future around had left me in the darkest moment of my life to go cuddle up with some generic finance bro in a rooftop bar. It was betrayal, but worse, it was abandonment. I wanted answers. I texted her, "Are you seeing someone?" No reply. I texted again, "I know about Drew. You owe me the truth." Nothing. I didn't even get the decency of a denial. Just silence. A week later, I held my father's hand as he took his last breath. It was quiet, peaceful in a way, but also the loneliest moment I've ever felt in my life. There was no one waiting at home for me, no one to collapse into, no partner to grieve with, just an empty apartment and voicemail notifications from the funeral home. That night, after I got back from the hospital, I scrolled through my old texts with Erica. All the I love yous. All the forever and always. They felt like someone else's story. Someone else's wife. That Erica was gone. A week after the funeral, I got a letter from my dad's lawyer. I wasn't expecting much. He was careful, private. But I opened the envelope and just stared at the number written inside. 7 figures. He had left me everything. The house, the stocks, the classic car he rebuilt in our garage together when I was 16. My dad had quietly built up a legacy for me, and now, in the middle of my grief, I was suddenly a millionaire. And then, like fucking clockwork, Erica called, after 2 months of silence. Her voice was soft. "Teary, I just heard about your dad," she said. "I'm so sorry, baby. I didn't know how to reach out." Bullshit. She went on about how she missed me every day and made a mistake walking away. Said she was confused, overwhelmed, didn't know how to deal with everything, and just needed time. I let her talk. I wanted to hear what kind of fantasy she was about to spin. Then she said something that made me want to punch a wall. "I think we still have a chance. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I realized what we had was real. We can fix this, right?" "Fix what?" "The part where you vanished while I was grieving? The part where you were in another man's bed while I was saying goodbye to my father? Or maybe, just maybe, this had something to do with the fact that my name had just appeared in the obituary next to the word beneficiary." That night, I didn't say much to her. I told her I needed time, but I already knew what I was going to do. So yeah, Erica came crawling back, full of "I've been thinking about us and I made a mistake. But let me tell you something, Reddit, grief gives you clarity. That kind of heartbreak doesn't just hurt, it strips everything raw. There's no filter left. No space for bullshit. I was done being polite. I told her we could meet. Neutral place. A coffee shop near my apartment. Somewhere public, because I knew if I saw her alone in the space where we used to fall asleep tangled together, I might lose my mind. She showed up in this beige trench coat, always trying to look dramatic, like she was stepping into a scene from some sad romance movie. Hair perfectly done, light makeup, but with just enough smudge under her eyes to say, "Look, I've been crying." I didn't buy it. She slid into the seat across from me, wrapped her hands around a mug, and said, "You look tired." "No shit, Erica. My dad just died. You'd know that if you'd been around." I didn't say it out loud. I just stared. She started talking. Apologizing. Rambling, really. About how things got complicated and she panicked and Drew was just there when she felt lonely. She swore they didn't sleep together until after she left. Oh, how generous of her. Said it was a mistake, that it wasn't real. That she'd ended it weeks ago and hadn't even spoken to him since. "I was just scared," she said, voice shaking. "You were slipping away and your dad was dying and I didn't know how to help you." "You could have stayed," I said. First words I'd spoken since sitting down. She looked down, blinked fast. I know I fucked up. But I've been thinking about you every day. I miss our life. I miss you." I nodded slowly. Interesting timing. She flinched like she knew what was coming. "That's not fair. Isn't it? You ignored me for weeks. Ghosted me while I was watching my father die. Now I inherit everything and you magically remember I exist?" It's not about that, she snapped, a little too fast. I didn't even know. Stop. I pulled out the will letter. Just let it peek out of the folder. Her eyes locked on the official letterhead like it was glowing. I didn't even need to say the number. She knew. The gears were spinning. And then she made her final move. She reached across the table, grabbed my hand. I still love you. For a second, I didn't move. I just watched her, the same eyes that once held my whole damn future. But now, they looked like a stranger's. Shiny, rehearsed. Do you love me? She whispered. I pulled my hand back. I loved you, I said. But that was before I realized the kind of person you really are. People make mistakes, she said quietly. I didn't cheat, not really, we weren't even. I laughed. I couldn't help it. One of those hollow, humorless laughs that just spills out when everything finally clicks. You didn't cheat? I leaned in. You moved in with another man while your husband was watching his father die alone. You left me completely. That's not a mistake, Erica. That's who you are. The silence stretched so long I thought she might cry. But she didn't. She just sat there, face blank, lips trembling. Then, right on cue, the tone shifted. I gave you the best years of my life, she said, her voice suddenly sharper. I waited for you while you ran off to play nurse. I didn't sign up to watch our marriage fall apart because of your dead dad. I swear I felt the floor drop under me. And just like that, it was done. All of it. No more doubt. No more wondering if I was being too harsh. That sentence sealed it. I stood up, dropped a few bills on the table, looked her dead in the eyes. You just made this easy. She called after me as I walked out. I didn't turn around. My phone buzzed 5 times before I got to the parking lot. Blocked her that night. She showed her hand and it was empty. Just like her apologies. What came next was all me. I didn't cry after I walked out of that coffee shop. I didn't scream, didn't throw anything. I got in my car, turned the key, and sat there with my hands on the wheel for maybe 30 minutes. You ever feel like your body's moving but your soul's still catching up? That was me. My mind was just empty. Like all the noise of the last few months, my dad's slow decline, the quiet nights without calls, the betrayal, the pretending, it had finally burned itself out. And all I had left was this hollow space where my life used to be. Then, all at once, the emotions hit. Anger. Deep, volcanic, bitter anger. Not just at Erica. At myself too. I was furious that I didn't see it earlier. That I ignored the signs. That I kept making excuses for her when she started pulling away. That I believed her when she said just space, like we were roommates taking turns in the same bed, not husband and wife. I kept asking myself, how the hell did I get here? Was I that blind? But that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't just hurt, it scrambles your sense of reality. I started second-guessing everything. Every moment of kindness. Every I love you. Was any of it real? Did she ever really love me, or was I just convenient? Safe? A stable branch until something more exciting came along? I couldn't stop replaying it all, the rooftop photo, the missed calls, the silence during the nights I sat next to my father's hospital bed holding his cold hand, wondering if tonight would be the night he stopped breathing. And she was with him. With Drew. Laughing. Living. She didn't just leave me. She left me when I was most vulnerable. When I had nothing left to give. When I was emotionally wrecked and physically drained and holding on by a goddamn thread. And then when the money came in. Oh, suddenly she found her way back. The rage started turning into this, slow, boiling grief. Not just for her or for what we had, but for my dad. He died without knowing what she did. And maybe it's better that way. But I can't help but feel like he'd be disappointed. That I picked someone so disloyal. So selfish. And then guilt. Heavy, stupid guilt. Because part of me still wanted to believe she didn't mean to hurt me. That maybe she did panic. That maybe she was overwhelmed and just made terrible choices. I hated that part of me. The part that still wanted to protect her. The part that wanted to pretend it could have ended differently. But eventually something shifted. One night, about 2 weeks after I blocked her, I was sitting in the living room surrounded by my dad's things. His favorite leather chair. His old record player. The box of tools we used to fix his car together. And I realized something. My dad didn't raise me to be a victim. He raised me to be strong. To be loyal. To keep my word and know my worth. And this wasn't strength. This was me stuck in limbo, haunted by a woman who didn't deserve my grief. So I decided then and there, no more mourning her. No more blaming myself. No more asking why she did it. Because the why doesn't matter when someone shows you who they are. What matters is what you do next. And for the first time in months, I felt a flicker of something I hadn't felt in a long, long time. Clarity. Next came action. So yeah, That night in my dad's chair, surrounded by all the echoes of who I used to be, I made a decision. I wasn't taking her back. Not now, not ever. And if she thought she was going to slither her way back into my life because of some inheritance? Nah. I wasn't gonna let her use my grief as a ladder. The next morning, I made 2 phone calls. The first was to a therapist. I'll be real with you, I've never been the kind of guy who thought much about therapy. My dad was old school, talk it out with a drink type of guy. But this wasn't something I could drink or sleep away. I needed to face the pain, all of it, the grief, the betrayal, the broken dreams, with someone who didn't try to explain it away. That call probably saved my life. The second call was to a divorce attorney. I told her everything. The timeline, the emotional abandonment, the likely infidelity. Even though I didn't have hard proof of them in bed, I had enough for emotional cheating, abandonment, and hell, even fraud if you squint at the timing right. She was sharp, blunt, didn't pity me, just told me what I needed to do. First, freeze the joint accounts. Erica hadn't touched anything yet, but better safe than sorry. Second, draft up divorce papers. No fault, fast track. Third, and this one stung, change the locks. That felt heavy. But I did it. I changed the locks on the apartment we used to call home. I boxed up her stuff, what little of it was still there, and put it in a storage unit under her name with 1 month prepaid. Sent her the code in an email. That's it. No more texts. No more phone calls. No more space for her in my world. And then came her reaction. She blew up. Called me selfish. Heartless. Said I was throwing away everything we built. That I'd changed since the money came in. The irony was too much, like, you mean me? I changed? She tried guilt first, we were supposed to grow old together. Then manipulation, so you're letting money come between us? Then desperation, I think I'm pregnant. Yeah, that one was the last straw. I asked for proof. Told her I'd only communicate through lawyers from that point forward. If there was a baby, and honestly, I didn't believe her, she could take it up through the court. No response. Just silence. She probably thought she could scare me back into her orbit. Instead, I doubled down. Got my attorney to draft up an airtight divorce filing and submitted it the next day. Erica didn't contest. I think deep down, she knew the jig was up. There was no reconciliation, no pity, no let's work through this. There was just me standing up for myself, finally. And you know what? That felt damn good. I started focusing on myself. I hired a financial advisor. Started putting the inheritance to work, investing, setting up a fund for any future kids I might actually want someday, building something real. I upgraded my apartment. Bought a decent used car, nothing flashy, my dad hated show-offs. I donated to the hospice that cared for him. Slowly, I started to feel human again. Not just a heartbroken husband or a grieving son. Just me. I still hear about Erica through mutual friends sometimes. She's figuring herself out. Probably dating someone new already. I don't really care. That chapter's closed. Money didn't change me. It just revealed who people really were. She showed me who she was. And I finally started showing up for who I was too. So here I am now. A few months removed from everything, from the funeral, from the betrayal, from the screaming matches in my head every time I replayed those moments. And I'll be honest, I'm not healed. But I'm healing. There are days I still wake up with that tight knot in my chest, wondering if I should have done something different. If I should have seen the signs sooner. If I was too focused on being a good son to realize I was losing my wife. But that's the trap of trauma, isn't it? You start questioning the wrong things. You twist yourself into knots trying to justify someone else's cruelty. And what I've learned, what I'm still learning, is this. You don't owe anyone your sanity just because they once said, I love you. Erica left when things got dark. She didn't just fall out of love. She walked away from me when I was holding a man I loved more than anything as he faded away. She vanished when the room filled with grief and the walls echoed too loud with pain. And she came back when things looked shiny again. That's not love. That's convenience. You want to know who your real people are? Watch who stays when life falls apart. Who picks up the phone at 3 a.m.? Who sits with you in the hospital lobby or brings food even when you don't have the energy to ask? The ones who don't flinch when your world burns. That's family. That's loyalty. She couldn't give me that. And no amount of apologies or tears or last-minute pregnancy claims could change the truth. She wasn't there when it counted. And honestly, I'm glad. Because I'd rather lose someone who fakes love than stay chained to someone who only shows up when there's something in it for them. Since all this, I've had people, friends, coworkers, even strangers online ask me what I'd do differently. What I'd say to someone going through something like this.